Hello and good morning and welcome to today's Facecast. Let me ask you, are you up for a fight? We don't normally think about fighting, do we, in the Christian life? We think about behaving well and being rather restrained and Christian. Are you up for a fight? That's the question. There's a very small letter, just one chapter, this letter, right near the end of the Bible, just before Revelation. It's called Jude. And it's the letter of Jude, a half-brother of Jesus. And he writes, encouraging the people he's writing to be fighters, really. Well, listen to what he says here in verse 3 of this letter. He says, "Dear friends, although I was very eager to write to you about the salvation we share, I felt I had to write and urge you to contend for the faith that was once entrusted to the saints." To contend for the faith. He wanted to write them a nice long theological letter all about salvation and how important it is and what Jesus achieves for us on the cross. And what he is saying here, though, is there's something that's more pressing for you at the moment, and that is I want you to contend for the faith. Contend is another word for fight for something. To fight for the faith. So in and amongst that society, there were people who were following all different ways, either spiritual ways or religious ways, we might say, of them, honouring and worshipping different gods, all mixed up together, as is often the case in a cosmopolitan society like Jerusalem, which is where this letter is aimed at. But he's asking them to stand up for the Christian faith. It's something we need to do from time to time when people try and put the Christian faith down. We need to stand up for the Christian faith and not necessarily prove it, but we do need to be able to say, well, as for me and my household, we're going to follow the Lord because that's what we believe in. That's what we know to be true. That's who we put our faith in. And you could do worse than that. We just need to be able to contend, that is, argue for or position ourselves as the followers of Jesus, and therefore making him plain to others. We don't need to be disproving other people. We don't need to be fighting with them so much that it becomes fisticuffs or that it becomes a prolonged and dangerous exchange of emails and letters and phone calls. We just need to be able to contend for, to stand up for the Christian faith. Can you do that? There's a question for you. If someone said to you, Christian faith is just rubbish, isn't it? That's just a bunch of religion. Religion causes wars. They don't want anything to do with that. It's just old-fashioned, outdated. I can think of lots of things that people say it is, have said to me over the years. How do you contend for the Christian faith in such a circumstance? Do you say, well, you might be right, you might be wrong. As for me, I think the way that Jesus shows us to live is the right way, and I'm going to follow him. Fair enough answer, isn't it? You might say, yeah, I understand what you're saying, although without some kind of a moral compass, life would be pretty dire, wouldn't it? Perhaps we need some kind of spiritual guidance and leadership. But you might contend for the faith in various ways. You might talk about your own personal circumstances, or you might want to suggest something. I tend to take that easier, softer approach because it's easier to say, yeah, you might be right, but on the other hand, there's something else to consider, and leave them with a question, maybe a doubt, a chink in their argument, rather than trying to prove them wrong. Can you contend for the faith as the letter Jude asks us to? Perhaps you get a chance to practice it with someone today. Have a good one. See you soon.